Hey, guess what? This episode, I managed to get through the entire thing without crying once. It happened. It's been a while. I don't know the last time it happened, but this time I didn't cry once. I got emotional, but I didn't cry.
How close were you to crying?
This time I don't think I was close. I don't know. I had a moment where I started like, I'm getting a little, but it wasn't like an emotional cry. It was kind of like a frustrated cry.
Were you frustrated crying because you were...
I wasn't crying. Okay. Not this time.
Did you get frustrated because you became aware that fact is that you may be crying soon? So you're like, mother?
No, I got frustrated because you were playing the devil's advocate. And I got frustrated. And then I was frustrated with myself for allowing myself to get so frustrated and allowing it to be so triggering when I'm like, oh my gosh, knock it off. Just have a conversation. So on this episode.
Of what?
The Energy is Love podcast.
Where can people listen?
Everywhere.
I think we need to...
You need me to say them?
No, don't list them off, please.
Oh.
There's too many. I was thinking that...
Alphabetical order.
Pandora. Apple. No, that's not
alphabetical. Not alphabetical.
I think we need a new place for people to listen.
We need a new place?
Yeah.
Castbox.
Is that one?
Yeah.
I was thinking our front yard.
Oh.
If you want to come, set up your lawn chairs. We'll totally play and put the speaker in the window and you can listen to the podcast in our front yard.
Absolutely.
Just knock on the door.
Knock 3 times.
If you don't want to do that, go to the website, which is...
theenergyislovepodcast.com.
It's not the Energy
is Love excuse
podcast.
Me.
If you'd had gone to the website, you would know that.
It's on my home screen.
energyislovepodcast.com with your guests, with your hosts, Stephanie and Craig. This episode is brought to you by the Refinery Barbershop. The Refinery Barbershop is located in Springville, Utah, and super exciting in the not too distant future. My guess is in the very beginning of 2020. So we only are a few short months away. They will be expanding. They're going to have more barber chairs, more space, more opportunities for you to come in and get your haircut, get your beard trim, sit in the wonderful, beautiful environment that the Refinery Barbershop is, and get treated to an amazing haircut. You can go to refinerybarbershop.com, find out all their information there. You can also schedule and book your appointment online from their website. So they made it super easy and streamlined. And when you drop in to get that haircut, make sure you let them know that you heard about them and you are there because you are a fan of this podcast. So episode 167, baby, what did we devote the majority of time to, you think?
Well, I think, God, you poking the bear.
Okay.
I'm the bear.
You're the bear?
No,
that just got super porny very quickly.
Oh.
You poking the bear and I'm the bear. I like when the bear gets poked. I think the majority of the time on this episode we discussed safe spaces, perhaps.
We did, to a point.
And what else? There was, not the fucking text number for
we spent a lot of time on that.
I know. That was funny.
Text a celebrity.
You can text us at 801-628.
You're going to do it.
I love you so much.
Don't.
There's so many times where you stop me from giving out my phone number on this podcast. You cannot text us yet because we are not famous enough to have our own text numbers. But if you would like to reach out and contact us about this episode that you are about to listen to or any previous episodes, the easiest way to do that is energyislovepodcast.com. Send us a message. Also, go follow us on Instagram. You can reach us there. But for now, folks, Barb, fans and listeners of the podcast, sit back. What's next, babe?
Relax.
Turn it up. Here we go.
You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is love.
The Energy is the Love podcast.
The Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is love.
The Energy is Love podcast.
The podcast for the universe.
The Energy is Love podcast.
I'm going to talk to you the entire episode with my eyes.
Don't do that.
Going to use my eyes to communicate to you.
And I'll just sit here and giggle the whole time.
Tell you the things that I'm thinking with my eyes.
You do that more than you know.
I bet.
You do.
Eyes are the windows to the soul. Is that what they say?
And then I ask you for clarification and you go, what?
Huh?
Exactly.
What? Sorry? What are you talking about?
What?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
And
Good
good night. Where did I get that from?
I believe it's the Truman Show.
Okay. This is a new, dawned on me.
Dawned on you?
I don't know if we've ever recorded in the evening.
I feel like we must have.
Can you think of a time?
Well, just because I can't think of a time. I know we've done afternoons.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is a
we
late
have
night
done
podcast.
an evening. It's not late night. Does that mean we get a on tonight's episode? Just kidding. What about when we were on our anniversary and we recorded in the back of the van out at the hot springs? That was
feel
more
like
in the
that-
evening, wasn't it? No?
Maybe.
I think this might be the latest.
Either way, it feels late.
It does feel late. I'm tired.
You know how funny it is?
How
Do you know what
funny?
time it is? You were going to look.
I
Don't
was
look.
going to look.
Just guess what time it is. This will be fun for the people. Okay, so first off, we're tired. We feel like it's getting dark outside. Normally at this point in our evening, we would kind of start relaxing and kind of slowing down for the evening,
You're good.
right?
Maybe slow down. I'm drinking my cozy tea.
So baby, what time do you think it is?
7:30ish. No.
It's 5:30.
No, it's not.
It's not even quite 5:30 yet, so
Oh no.
yeah. It's getting a little late around here. We got to wrap this shit up. Kids, time for fucking bed.
Oh my god. Okay.
There's a part of me I remember like so clearly. I remember when my dad would be like, "Come on, like time for bed. Let's go." Right? And then you're like sitting there watching TV, furious that somehow you have to go to bed right now. Yeah. And furious that he is telling you to go to bed right now. Like, don't you see I'm watching something that I used to watch back in the 80s?
Fine, I'm not going to be able to sleep.
And I just remember being so pissed off and so furious at like the ignorance, the sheer ignorance of telling me to go to bed. I'm not tired. I don't need to go to bed right now. Oh, I relish in telling our kids to go to bed. And not only like relish in telling them, making them go to bed. It makes me very, very happy.
Really?
Yeah, because it's bedtime. I don't care if they don't want to go to bed. It's our bedtime and we want to go to bed.
Go to bed. I can't stop yawning now. I have not yawned until we're sitting down doing this. Now I'm sitting here yawning.
Yeah. Well,
It's still too hot.
your tea.
Yes.
I had an epiphany
An epiphany?
the other day.
Tell me. Those are the best.
Actually, this isn't quite an epiphany,
Just epiphany?
just epiphany.
Okay. Those are so cool.
You and I are at a new level of communication where we talk about so many things, so much, so frequently, and so often that we have to consciously keep some of those things to ourselves until the podcast. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because it's like, baby, I had this idea. Baby, I had this thought. Baby, I was thinking this huge emotional thing about my life. And we're constantly talking about all of those things all of the time.
Yes.
Which is fine. I'm not complaining by any stretch of the imagination. Mm-hmm. But then when I go to recount something on the podcast, it feels weird because I'm sitting there talking to a microphone to the pretend listener that's out there listening instead of like carrying on a conversation with you, because it's literally a conversation that we had yesterday morning at the kitchen table or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think we have to hold just a little bit. And I'm not talking about all the important, amazing, beautiful things that we're conversing about on a regular basis, but I have an example of something that I've been holding on to, waiting for the podcast.
I always get nervous when you do this. I'm like, shit. I held on to tea, my concoction over here, and I'm pretty sure you have something that's going to be really difficult.
What's your tea concoction?
No, it's...
I won't forget mine. I'm
I
curious.
I made the joke. Remember, I'm like, do you want to hear about my tea, or should I shave it? Should I save it for the podcast? And you're like, if you want to. Which it's actually quite... Somebody might want the recipe. So
we should do
anyways.
like the last... We'll take a break in the middle of the podcast for Stephanie's tea time. And Stephanie can talk to you about teas and what she likes and how she makes them and give you recommendations for tea blends.
Okay.
Anyways,
It's tea time.
that would be funny.
Okay, so what was your thing you waited for?
Yeah, I've been holding on to this, waiting to talk to you about it.
For how long?
Maybe a week.
I knew you were keeping something from me.
Maybe not quite a week.
Really?
A little less than a week.
Have I hinted on it at all?
Oh,
and
no,
you've
no.
almost no?
No.
Am I going to be scared?
No. Not at all.
I'm scared.
No, it's totally stupid.
Okay.
There's this new thing. I don't think you are aware of it, and I've just recently become aware of it. Did you realize that you can text with celebrities and stars?
Tell me you're not.
So
That's all I'm going to say is tell me you're not.
So
like,
you didn't realize
"Hi,
that that's
my
a
name's-"
thing now, right?
Well, no, I don't have any of their phone numbers or their Twitter accounts or messaging them on there.
No, this is their direct lines.
You have their direct lines.
You can direct text with a variety of celebrities of your choosing.
I'm sure the celebrities quotations are the ones that are responding to
they
because
are.
they have time. So it's the same as like Facebook messaging
No, because it's not a social media app. You're literally texting them on your phone, and you can have a conversation with them.
Who's buying that shit?
Okay, so there's this whole new thing that's really fucking retarded and asinine, and it's driving me bonkers for the most part because it's so silly.
You're right, I hadn't heard that.
So obviously I listen to a lot of podcasts, and the way that I've been hearing about it is through all the comedy podcasts that I listen to.
Makes sense.
So Bert and Tom, they have their new podcast, Two Bears, One Cave.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I was going to say Two Bears in a Cave.
Leanne, quick side note, Leanne Kreischer, who has been on this podcast, and
Yes,
we've
she
been on
has.
her podcast, and we're a big fan of Leanne and of Bert. But recently Tom was traveling, so he's out of town. So Leanne came and did Two Bears, One Cave with Bert. So it's Bert and Leanne.
Is it awesome?
Oh my
I haven't
God.
heard it yet. I want
It's
to hear
so
it.
good. And at the very end, I'll spoil alert all of it for all of you. But at the very end, I don't remember what he asked her. Oh, he's like, what would a podcast be like if it was like, what would our podcast be if it was just the two of us or something like that? And it was like, as the show was coming to an end, and she's all, I don't know. And he's like, what would it be called or something like that? And she's all,
Oh, God, I love her.
she's all, one bear, one cunt. Oh, it was hilarious. And she totally cracked herself up.
Rightfully so.
But anyways, yeah. So I heard those guys talk about it. Whitney Cummings, she's got a new podcast. Amy Schumer. Anyways, apparently Ashton Kutcher, Snoocher, Ashton.
Snoop Doggy.
No, what's his last name? Ashton.
Well, shit, I knew
Kutcher?
it till you said it 50 different times. I don't know.
Ashton Cushion.
It's the you've been punked, dude.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh,
Mr. Mila.
anyways,
You don't remember that show?
yeah, of course I remember that show.
Then why did you give me that word?
Because he's not known for punked. He's known for the 70s show.
He's known for being Mr. Mila. Because hello.
Yeah, Mila
Hello.
Kuchar. Anyways, he has some hand in this app that celebrities
I
can buy
believe
into
it.
that's called Community. And basically, you can sign up if you're a famous person, and then
We should sign up for it though.
they give you a phone number, a legitimate 801 blah 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 phone number that you can then give out to your guests, not your guests, give out to your fans. Whether you have a podcast, whether you have a comedy tour, whether you're just a fucking famous person and you want to give your fans your phone number, right?
Okay.
And then your fans can directly on their phone text you at that phone number.
Okay.
So it's real, but it's not real.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's going, like they have the ability to go and look and see and read all of those apps, or I'm sorry, all of those texts.
Mm-hmm.
And they can respond to them if they want to. They can respond to them directly if they want to. So you can send them a personal message and receive a personal response from them, right?
Or it's a bot.
Well, or they can also just flood you with shit and tell you when they're coming to your city and how you can buy tickets to their show and check out my new Netflix special coming out tomorrow, or wish you a happy birthday automatic message that is randomly put in there, or...
Do you have Brandy's number?
No.
Did you get Brandy's?
No, but she is somebody that we would probably text.
I would totally text Brandy Carlisle. I'm like, oh, hold on, this might be a good idea.
But how silly is that?
It's pretty ridiculous.
What,
I think I don't know.
The thing
I
is,
guess from what I think it's dumb, but
well, it's just another way for them to promote their shit, which how many more ways do we need to be able to promote our shit, right? Because literally, like, if you're a famous person, like, let's take Whitney, for example. I like Whitney Cummings. We actually went and saw her when she was here in Salt Lake City.
Wish we did.
She did a great job. We watched her Netflix special, which wasn't as good as she was live. Anyways, she has social media.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got all of her followers on social media. She has, like, continually been a guest on tons and tons and tons of podcasts. She just recently came out with her own podcast. She just has copious amounts of ways to reach her fans. Why do they need one more way?
Well,
I have a theory.
I don't know. You have a theory? I'm thinking what? Because the publicist told him to do so?
No.
Which theory? I don't have a theory.
We're both drinking tea tonight.
That's
The fact is they don't need one more way to reach their fans, right? They're already reaching their fans.
Yes.
But
What?
this little thing of where you can text with them is making people feel special.
Oh.
So they're making their fans feel special, right?
That's kind of sweet in a way.
Is
I realize it's, well, you immediately look at it and like, oh, it's just feeding the egos of I'm texting Whitney. Like, well, look at me. However, if that's the case, that's kind of sweet.
Okay.
I think maybe their intention's a little sweet.
Well, I don't. I think their intentions are come to my show when I'm in your city, and here's how you can buy tickets.
Well, why wouldn't you want to? We're texting buddies.
Right? I don't think they're terrible people, obviously.
Yeah.
But I feel like it is, once again, just one more way to manipulate us, the dopey people out here in the universe that aren't famous, for, like, yeah, like I was texting with Bert the other day. What do you mean? Well, I was. See? I was totally texting with Bert. He told me happy birthday. Or I sent him a picture of my dog and he laughed at it. Right?
If Brandy sent me a text saying I'm going to be, you should come to my show, I'm selling a kidney to get there. like yes, Brandy. So I can see the pull that it would have. Because if you're a big enough fan that you would pull that you would try and whatever, it's going to work. So
it made me think
way to
about
go.
It made me think about connection.
Yeah.
And it made
I
me
wouldn't
think
really sell a
about
kidney, by the way, Pod.
you know, because what I don't get, these people, when I say these people, like these celebrities, have had the capacity to do that all along, right? If you want to text somebody, you can just, like, if you want to be able to communicate with your fan base directly, you can message them, right? Like, you can message your followers, I think. Or if a follower messages you, you can respond to that message if you want to.
You can.
I think it's just a way of making that, like, because a text seems more personal. When we text somebody, it's like we're texting our friend, we're texting our family member, we're texting somebody that's close to us because we actually have their phone number, as opposed to, like I sent Alanis a long time ago, Alanis Morissette, I sent her a direct message on Instagram.
Yes.
Because she needs to be on this podcast at some point in time.
Did she respond?
She did not. I was not surprised.
I'm not feeling the love here. I'm just saying, well, it's because you need to text her.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. If I had her number and I could just text her. Yeah.
Okay. So Ashton, can we get a couple of phone numbers?
I think we just need to be on the app. We need to have phone numbers that our fans can text us directly.
I said that at the beginning. Didn't you hear that?
Mm-mm.
Jeez.
You want to do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we can let them know when we're going to be in a city near them.
Well, they want to know.
I don't know what they want to know.
What about the fans that don't like texting?
Well, then they can go back to Instagram.
Or what if they don't like direct messaging either? What if they're more of a phone call person? I do not like texting. I don't think you can
call the
talk.
numbers too.
You can talk to everybody that I text, and they will all be unanimous that I think you're the only one that I text back like right away. I hate texting. I would just call me. I don't want to sit here and try and figure it out. And then you think, well, I don't want to be on the phone forever. Like, I don't want to be on like texting forever back and forth.
What do you do when people call you though? Oftentimes you don't answer.
Just knock on my door. Like, I hate the phones. Just come to my house.
So then you can sit behind the curtain and not answer?
I don't do that. Do I?
No.
I don't do that.
No, we answer the door.
It's because nobody comes here.
You can call us, text us, or come knock on our door.
You should call or text Craig. He's a pretty much always on his phone kind of person. And then you can knock on the door for me. There you
I'm
go.
always working.
This is why we're having this topic that he's held on to for a week, because it was so good.
I just thought it was funny and
always
interesting.
Working. It is. I have a lot more thoughts on it.
Let's hear it.
I think I don't have positive thoughts though.
That's okay.
No, I want to be positive. I don't want to be because
have you met us or this podcast?
Okay, well, thanks for calling me
We're not
a
all
negative Nancy.
We're not all love and light here,
yes,
baby.
we are. I am love and light and unicorn poop. Because I think, for one, whoever came up with it, way to put themselves out there and come up with something to like
make
live
money.
Off of. Yes, make money. Abundance isn't a bad thing.
Yeah,
and
Ashton Kutcher definitely needs more.
I'm sure he's given it to charity. And then if it's a way to, I don't know, bridge the gap, I can just think of all the good intentions. And yeah, I'm probably being dumb and it was probably nothing but money, but I'm going to be positive. I'm not going to participate, but I'm going to be positive.
If Brandy does come out with her,
I'll probably participate.
you wouldn't even know what to do.
Oh my God.
Because the whole thing is like, you can just text them and then you get an automated response, right? And
I
you would be
feel
like,
it. Just
oh my
the
God, I don't know
thought
what to say.
of something
Start the
coming
message,
back.
delete
Like,
it.
hi, Stephanie. I'd be like, I can feel my face hurting from my smile just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It would be pretty cool.
I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that would have that response from me.
I don't know. Yeah, definitely not your husband.
Oh my God.
Well, we could think of somebody sitting across from you and
true.
Married to you and
oh my God.
make you dinner tonight
Oh
or
my God. No,
next week,
I love you
this morning or
and I love your text. And what do I tell you when you call me? I get so freaking excited when you call me because I'm more of the voice, the communication over text. So when we talk on the phone and you call me, it's not just that you answer my calls, but when you actually call me, there's nobody that gives me that feeling. So there you go.
Yeah.
Who would be other than your wife, who would be your number one? Like, oh my God, if you got a response from.
Yeah, I don't think I have anybody that I would be like, oh my God, I got a response from them.
Seriously?
Well, like,
what if it was a real response?
Yeah, like if Matt Damon starts having a real text conversation with me, I would be pretty damn excited about that.
Okay, I can see that. However, he was not even on my top 4 that you would choose.
I would like text messages from Brandy.
I picked Brandy.
Mm-hmm.
I picked Alanis.
Okay.
Am I saying it wrong?
No.
You looked at me weird.
No.
Okay.
I thought you were talking about your picks.
Oh, no, I'm picking your picks,
yeah,
babe.
You're picking my picks.
However, I agree with your picks.
You can pick your friends' picks, but you can't pick your picks.
Shut up. Your picks, by the way, I would 100% love those ones. So, like, we're in alignment there, except for Matt Damon. I think he's great, but I'd be like, oh, that's cool. You should text my husband. He'll get much more from this than I will. Then I would pick Sheryl Crow for you, and then Jewel. In that order.
Why is it all just musicians?
Because you have a thing for women musicians, and that is like your whole life thing. That's why I picked.
It's not my whole life thing.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Let's ask anybody who ever's known Craig for real.
I like musicians. I like music.
That happen to be
artists.
women and women with guitars. Girls with guitars.
Can't say no to a girl with a guitar.
Well, if anybody out there wants to teach me how to play guitar, I think I can play. I just haven't learned yet. So if somebody wants to help me out, it would definitely
be an actor.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have totally picked any of those women.
No, well, I would pick any of those women too. If they want to text with me, that's totally fine.
It would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I thought that would be your first picks.
No, it would totally have to be some actor.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I know like you're all movie, but you go crazy over those women.
Not any crazier than me.
I'm sad I'm wrong.
Natalie Portman.
Okay, there you go. I believe she would take the cake over all of them.
I would kind of throw my phone down.
I don't think... Well,
I would do that thing where you're like, oh, I got a text message, and you pull it up and you look at, what the fuck, and you throw that down like, holy shit.
Okay. Oh my God. If there is Oh my God. I would love that. I would love the opportunity to meet her without you. Hear me out, okay? And have this amazing person that is so nice. And then she feels the need to say yes to this crazy fan and say, please, can you just call? No, because I want you to see her too. It's like, can you just come so we can say hi? Like you'll walk in and sit down where he's expecting me just so you can say, just to see your face, just to see you lose it. I bet you would melt. Like, and I don't mean like, oh, melt. I think you would melt.
It would be pretty cool.
Did I get any of that out or was I too excited?
I would try to be so cool.
You couldn't be cool. If Natalie Portman came and sat down in front of you and said, hi, Craig, you would not. You couldn't be cool.
I would.
I just said that and your eyebrows shot through the roof.
No, because I just went there and I'm like, what would I do? What would I do? What would I do? Hello, Natalie. Fancy meeting you here. What are you doing at our kitchen table?
You would not be that cool. And I was talking like in a restaurant. I wouldn't be creeper like you should come to my house and meet my husband. Like I'm gonna.
Maybe she wants to be on the podcast.
Maybe, right?
Come record in our bedroom.
That would be so cool.
We got another stool.
But like in my mind, making it like we're in a restaurant and I run into her in the van. I'm like, just go sit down in my place, please. He will never be as happy in his whole life as he will be in this moment if he just gets to sit across the table from you for a moment.
That would definitely not be my happiest moment in my entire life, but it would be very cool.
Well, what would be? Is it about me? Are you going to throw it out? Okay, you're so sweet. So on top of that.
You are my happiest moment.
Thank you. However, if I could somehow sneak Natalie Portman across the table, so when you look up from your phone that you're always on, because you're always working, and you see her, oh my God.
That would be cool. Set it up.
I would love to. Can anybody help me out? But approach it in a way that doesn't sound weird, because I feel like all of this sounds weird.
My birthday's coming up in March, so we have a few months to make this happen.
I would love it.
We frequent restaurants such as Panda Express
Yeah,
and
we're not eating there
Costa
anymore.
Vida.
Costa Vida? Will you go to Costa Vida?
What other fancy restaurant, fine dining establishments do we go to?
We do the salad bar at Whole Foods.
That's right.
So that's a good place.
That's right. I could see Natalie at Whole Foods.
She'd be at Whole Foods.
She would definitely fit in there. Can you think of any? We don't go out in case it wasn't obvious.
So anyways, okay, that's it. I could see her being like, that's your biggest ultimate fan moment to meet somebody would be her.
Yeah. Can you think of a thought that you've had recently that you haven't shared with me?
No.
Okay. Really? Nothing?
I feel like I don't really have much of a filter with you anymore. I feel like most of I used to not say hardly anything. And I feel like most of my day comes into my head, comes out of my mouth. Like, I feel like I'm just open with you.
That's good.
Yeah, but now I just realize that I don't have anything to add. I don't have any mystery.
It's okay. There's no mystery to this.
Let me think. I've got stuff. I know I've got stuff. I just can't. I'm not good at being on the spot. You put me on the spot for anything and my brain goes blank.
Well, I have something else.
Great.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay.
Your last one was good.
We talked about this recently. Because I keep a list of things when I have them pop into my head.
I used to.
I have this written on this list, and I don't remember totally what this is in conjunction with. But it's kind of like not a phrase or a saying. It's a thing. Men can't handle power until they've made journeys of powerlessness. I don't remember exactly where I got that. I think it was in something everyman related. But I liked that. That's why I wrote it down. And it's on our list of shit to talk about on the podcast. But it's not coming to me now what that is.
Okay.
Recently when we were talking about the conversation, and we're not guilty of anything because there's nothing wrong with this, but
says every innocent man.
I'm not guilty. No, we've done this on the podcast copious amounts of times, over and over and over again. But the conversation surrounding masculine and feminine, and kind of picking apart and dissecting masculinity and how men can be better men and what's wrong with masculinity and all that kind of shit. And then the same thing with feminine and how blah, blah, blah on that side of the spectrum.
Yes.
And you and I have had those conversations a lot on this podcast. And we've had those conversations with people and guests on this podcast a lot.
Okay.
And recently you and I were having a similar conversation about that kind of topic. When we realized that like, oh yeah, we need to stop talking about the split and the dichotomy and the polarity of masculine and feminine and just start talking about people.
Yeah.
That all the shit that we talk about for men being out of balance and needing this and needing that and having to tap into their emotions or be vulnerable and all, that totally applies to women across the board.
Yes, it does.
And the vast majority of women are dealing with deficiencies or lack of in those arenas as well, right?
And excesses.
And excesses, right? Too much. Steph's taking off her shoes.
Nice getting comfortable.
And same thing when we have the discussion about feminine and femininity and what that looks like and how it, all those kind of, it just all is applicable to people.
Yes.
So I want you and I,
Okay.
hopefully, we can do a better job of when we do discuss those type of things, really coming at it from the perspective of people.
Okay.
Rather than specific categories of people.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm closer now.
You're okay.
I was getting comfortable. I like it.
Do you think there's ever a time where, oh my goodness, excuse me, the conversation, I'm sure there is a time this is too big of a, oh God, we're sitting here burping up our tea.
I'm not burping. I'm sniffing.
The ginger got me.
Did it?
Do you ever think there's a time when it makes sense to have the conversation about men or about women or about a specific category of people rather than just people as a whole?
Yes.
What would that be?
It's a conversation we've already had that you won't like.
Okay. I love having the conversations that I don't like.
Oh, you know what? No, I guess it's... my first thing that I go to is the woman's right to choose what she does and does not do with her body.
But that's applicable to men.
Men can do exactly what they want to do to their body.
What I'm saying is
Not
that
to somebody else's body, but to their own body.
that argument of women's right to choose, how did you phrase it again?
To do whatever they want to do with their body.
Right. Mm-hmm. Every discussion point, every argument, everything that we could bring out and talk about in regards to that and women, 100% applies to men. So we can just talk about it from the standpoint of people rather than men or women. To a degree? Or do you feel like there's some uniqueness?
I'm stubborn, and I feel like there's uniqueness because I am so, like, not only do I think men don't have a say in what a woman does with a woman's body, I don't think any woman has a say in what any other woman does with their body. It is a personal decision for that woman and that woman alone. And she can incorporate all the help and resources that she chooses to with that. But it is up to her. So men shouldn't decide and women shouldn't decide for her. Everybody, I guess it's a people thing because as much as I want to choose what is best for my body and what I want, you get to choose what is best for your body and what you want.
Right? So
Yeah.
that
So I guess,
conversation, we can
okay,
just talk
so-
about it from the standpoint of people.
Okay, you're right. I see it. It took me a minute.
Everybody has the right to do with what they choose and please with their bodies, and nobody can tell them otherwise.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying because I can hear all the, like, the backlash that would come with that. I'm not saying they can, like, choose to inflict harm on other persons because that's what they're doing with their body.
They totally can choose to do that, though.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No. Don't even want to debate that. Don't even be devil's advocate. Like, no. Don't hurt somebody else. Yes, that's
a choice that
it
that
is a
individual
choice,
is
but
making.
I don't want that to be an acceptable choice. I want that to be, if that's the choice you make, there are going to be severe consequences.
Of course, there's consequences, but
Yeah.
we still can't take away their right to make that choice.
I think so.
There's no way to do that, Stephanie.
In my brain,
Okay.
everybody's, no, I don't like that. Just don't. You
Okay.
always do that. And it's okay, but, like, this time it really makes me mad. It's like, for me, I don't know how to not hear. And I know this isn't what you're saying, but I get so upset with that because the only thing I can hear is you are saying it is okay for men to make the choice to assault women or children. And I know that's not what you're saying. But I'm so sensitive to that that's the only thing I can hear you arguing for, even though I know that's not it. So when it sounds like that, I'm like, no, even though I know you're not. So tell me you're not. I know you're not. What's your point?
I'm not sitting there arguing just that point, but.
And same with women.
Exactly.
They are out. I mean, it's not the same numbers. So they think that it's not, but it's still a problem. Women are still violators.
So the argument, and it's not an argument, the statement is people have the right to choose what they do with their bodies.
But don't inflict a choice. Don't take a choice from somebody else.
No, don't do that. But you still have the right to do that.
You do not have the right to do that.
We can't take away.
It's not a right. It's a choice. A choice and a right is not the same thing.
Okay. But your body is your body. So what you choose to do to it, with it, however you choose to use it, is completely 100%. You have free agency to do that.
So you're saying I have a right to go and assault people.
So think about this, Stephanie.
I can't hear you do this.
I'm going to present a world to you where we implant a chip that eliminates that part of our brains.
That's going to cause harm to somebody else?
No. So now no longer, if I
like it.
get pissed off at somebody, this part in my brain goes, and then I don't go and punch them.
Well, you should not go and punch them anyway.
You're right, I shouldn't. But shouldn't I have the right to make the choice, or should it be made for me?
Okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying, free will, but no.
There's definitely consequences. We're not eliminating any of those.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't like this conversation.
Because this comes down to words as well.
Excuse me?
I'm making words with my mouth and with my body right now. Right?
Good job.
I'm using my body to speak.
Yes.
Right? I should be able to say whatever the hell it is that I want to say.
And I'm telling you not to say that.
And nobody should be able to tell me that I can't say a word, or maybe I can't gesticulate in a specific manner with my hands.
What? You're right. You can do all the stuff, but
right? I have the right to do those things.
You do, but I also have the right to not participate.
Perfect.
So I don't want to get up and storm out because I don't like where this is going. I want to keep it going. So I'm telling you, I'm not comfortable with this conversation because it's upsetting me to the point because I don't see it that way. I cannot, like you saying it's right is infuriating me. So
what would be another word? Because you have the same right. And I can't take that away from you.
Well, if I ever try to activate that decision or that choice, I really hope you do. If I get to that part where I would hurt somebody else, I hope somebody's ever stop me.
What if they deserve it? I love devil's advocate.
God, it pisses me off. You know that thing you said was going to happen later tonight with us? I don't know if that's going to happen because
she's talking about sex, folks.
I'm talking about not having sex is what I'm talking about.
I don't know why I enjoy devil's advocate.
I don't know either because I'm really upset. And like if you were anybody else, I wouldn't sit here and argue my point. I wouldn't sit here and argue like, no, that's not right. That doesn't feel comfortable. That doesn't feel good. What I would do is I would leave the situation. I would just get away from it. I'd be like, oh, okay. And I would leave. I wouldn't have that conversation. I would not engage. I wouldn't say you're wrong. I wouldn't say you're right. I would simply remove myself because it doesn't feel good. If that's your mindset, I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to try and change it, but I'm not going to participate in it. And guaranteed I'm grabbing the kids and being like, don't look at that. Get out of here. You know, I'm going to hustle away. So I'm only having this conversation with you because it's you. And I know that you really don't think people have that right because but you do, right? Oh my God.
Ooh, that was a ribbity frog in your throat.
I'm kind of sad.
I know.
I'm a little worked up.
Well, that's okay. You can be a little sad and you can be a little worked up, right? Obviously.
But anyways, just like that, I can let it go. So I see your point. Everybody has the right to do with their bodies as they choose. I don't think they have the right to inflict it on anybody else. And I hope that people just because you can do something doesn't mean should. And I hope that one day all of that stops and they stop doing it. So
That's a good way to phrase it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Gwen, our wonderful daughter, the other day said something to me on the phone that I hadn't thought about. She recently went to our nation's capital.
Our nation's capital.
Yeah, she went back to DC for a work thing that she had with school. And she talked about one of the speakers that she saw presenting there. And the speaker was referencing her generation. So Gwen is a junior in college. She's 20 years old. So they were referencing her generation and kind of the generation surrounding her right now, and how safe spaces are very important and how they've become a thing, right? Where we have to keep, like, not just make safe spaces, but create safe spaces for things to happen so that people feel safe in these spaces, right?
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm talking about when I reference safe spaces, right?
I do.
So that's a big thing for her generation and the generation that's kind of in that place right now, and how important that is. And they've almost gone overboard with it to the point where it isn't, it's like becoming counterproductive, where we're starting to restrict some freedom of speech and some things like that, you know, aren't really
Personal point of privilege.
Yeah. Personal point of privilege. But the point that the speaker lady, whoever the hell she was making, was part of the reason perhaps that her generation feels that to be such a necessity is because they have grown up. Like, Gwen was 2 years old when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
Right? She's grown up in an environment and in a society and in a culture that has been at war in one way, shape, or form since she was born, right? No real times of peace. Also, all the school shootings that have happened and have continued to just rise in numbers on a regular basis since Columbine was right around that same time period, early, because it was kind of the Matrix was, I think, 98 or 99, and then I think Columbine was probably like the early 2000s, right? So because of that, that's why they have taken to creating safe spaces and making it so important, which I totally get and understand.
Yeah, that's definitely makes me supporter of that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Had you ever thought about it that way?
Not.
It makes sense, though.
It makes total sense. And I think, how could I have not thought of it that way?
Yeah.
Now you hear that, it's like, oh, that's horrifically obvious. Why did somebody else have to point that out? I should have made that conclusion. Come here, you can have a safe space. I got a safe space for you. It's okay. You want some hot chocolate? I got that too.
I like safe spaces. I like the idea behind people having the opportunity to congregate and meet in an environment that is safe for them to feel and express themselves however they choose. What I don't like is if you disagree with the way that person is choosing to express themselves. It's no longer a safe space for them.
All right. I see your point.
That doesn't work, right?
Calling me out.
I'm not calling you out at all. Not in the slightest. It's just the counter argument. It's the thing that the speaker lady that Gwen listened to, I have no idea who she was kind of referencing that maybe perhaps it has gone overboard. Maybe they've gone too far in that direction and have to bring it back a little bit and bring some balance to it.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with words, right? So much of I was thinking about that too. Well, I wasn't. I'm just now thinking about this. And I'm going to use the kind of same context of this lady's argument or explanation of it, because words are so important to these kids, right? Mm-hmm. And all the words and the verbiage of everything has been changing over the past 10 or 15 years, where words that were once okay to say and speak aren't anymore. I said one earlier. I don't know if you caught it.
I guess I didn't.
I said retard. I said
you
the R word.
always say that. That's not going to jump out at me when you say it.
But that's an example of a word that is no longer, quote unquote, safe to use anymore.
Yeah. I'm okay with it not being used too.
You're okay with it being used?
No, I'm okay with it not being used.
Not being used. Yeah. But perhaps
I hear your point.
Part of the reason why that has become such an important thing, especially to Gwen's generation, right? 20-year-old, 25, 30-year-olds, is because they grew up with the internet where that was the main form of communication, was words. So it wasn't in-person communication where you could actually see the person, feel the person, hear the person, know the connotation for what they were speaking because of their body language and all those type of things. It's all written. It's all comments and responses and text messages. So it was very much about words rather than the meaning behind those words, right?
Yeah, I can see that to a point.
Well, maybe it's not a good argument. I literally just pulled it.
I like it. I like it. I'm like, that makes total sense. But then I had this one, like, what is it? Proverb? Yeah, one of those. Thanks.
Meme? Was it a meme?
No, it's like this old, like, as soon as you were saying that, I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense. Everything is right there and not connecting, not face to face. But then that old saying is, the pen is mightier than the sword. So words have always had that power.
What about sticks and stones?
Oh, good counter. Well, I got nothing for that. That was a good counter. Damn. I am defenseless now. You win. Wow. I got nothing. That was a good counter. That was great.
Totally the counter argument of people, even in regards to like the safe space conversation, that thinks they're just a bunch of lazy pieces of shit that needed to be spanked more, right?
Yeah.
That had helicopter parents and put them in timeout rather than paddled their ass and made them clean their rooms.
Yeah.
So we've just softened society so much to where they get hurt by words. There's a stupid meme where it shows like the 20-year-old in a black and white photo back in World War II storming the beaches of Normandy, right? And then the 20-year-old present day sitting there crying, and the meme is like, you know, somebody said a mean word to you and you're devastated, or, you know, have to seek therapy. And meantime, this 19-year-old back during World War II was storming the beaches of Normandy, right? Like, yeah, that's obvious, but luckily for us, the 19-year-olds today don't have to do that.
But they... To a point.
Yeah, to a point. We're still at war.
And we're still sending babies out there. They don't.
We shouldn't be sending old people.
Well, I'm sorry, but our oldest, like you said, 20-year-old, I'm sorry. It's not a lot of decision making right there. Like, I definitely don't feel that life and death battling decisions should be placed on those shoulders.
Should be placed on anyone's shoulders.
I'm not just saying just she's the only one. Like, yeah, that it's just, anyways, I guess that's a whole other thing that I'm grateful for. I don't know. I remember the first moment when that really sunk in, like the age, because it was like, yeah, that's 18. I grew up on a military base. I never, that's what you did. I wanted to join when I was younger.
You wanted to enlist?
I did. I was going to, in my brain, can you see me? Yeah, I'm over here getting all upset over words. But at the time, oh my God, I wanted to be a pilot so bad. So bad. Oh my God, so bad. I grew up always seeing the jets flying overhead and hearing them. And then when I worked, they would like the base airport was right by my work. So I would see them land and take off. And I, every time, was like a kid at Disneyland. I was like, I didn't care who was around or how dorky I looked. It was just my full body. So I grew up with, I guess, veterans. I have so many in my family that are that, like, and I grew up on a military base. So I never saw them as kids. It was just like, that's just kind of what you do. And then when you're an 18, you're an adult, and that's that. And then even as I got older, I never saw it. The first time I saw it was, we were wasn't a great house. You and I were together. We were at somebody's house, and their next door neighbor had, an 18-year-old son that had been in and out of trouble and had just enlisted and was going into the Marines and was had made through so much. And he already had like so much pride in himself. And he came over and he was talking to you and he was talking to others, but he came over with his flags and was like presenting all of this stuff with so much pride, which is wonderful, right? But he wasn't a man that was showing this. He was a little boy coming over with his little cars and showing that. And it was just like, he was so young, and it hit me at that moment. I was like, oh my God, he's a baby and he's going to go over there. Like, oh my God. So that was the first moment when I'm like, this is not okay. That age is not okay. Anywhere near that age is not okay. They are still so impressionable and still soaking up their opinions and ideas, as opinionated as they are, from their surroundings. They are not. You got to give them some time to come up with their own ideas, their own opinions, their own standards before you put that on them. You can't send that age. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a military. I'm not saying any of that. It's not any anti-military. I support them, the military, not the government, the military, just like the soldiers themselves, the individuals. I'm not saying that shouldn't be there. I'm not saying that I'm not grateful to every single one of them. I'm just saying, oh my God, why would you send? They're so young. It's not okay. So that was just it. I just remember my first moment of holy shit. When
do you feel like would be a good age?
I don't have that answer.
Because the thing that you said where they're kind of forming their decisions and their ideas and their thoughts about the world from their surroundings, right? Mm-hmm. They haven't yet gotten to the point where they're forming those ideas and those thoughts from within themselves, right? They're not. Okay. They're taking the information.
They're still sponges.
Yeah, they're still sponges, mm-hmm. but they're not taking the information in, and like a sponge takes water and then you squeeze it and water comes back out. And at some point, I think in our lives as adults, as we evolve, we take water in, but then when we squeeze that sponge, something else comes back out.
Is it shit?
No. No, it's our own thoughts and our own ideas. So we're not just regurgitating what we absorb, mm-hmm. but we are turning what we absorb into our own and then giving it back.
Taking what resonates with us and leaving what doesn't, having our own. I think 26 then.
26.
And I'm going to give you my reason for that. Whether or not, 26, 27 maybe, 27 before you can. Here's my reason. Your frontal cortex is not done developing, which forms your rational thought, which is your decision making, that is not done developing until you're about 25 years old. So that shouldn't be programmed before it is able to decide itself. And then you got to give, so I say 26, but that's like straight out of the gate, right? So maybe 27, because you have that fully developed, and then that gives you a chance to then integrate all of, so just that little bit. And then, I don't know. I think it would be, I still don't want the need for it. I don't want it to be
Let's eliminate
unnecessary.
the need for it, and then we don't have to worry about it. But
like, wouldn't that be beautiful?
I was sitting here thinking about, because 26 seems really old, right?
No.
Well, from current standards,
still a toddler.
At, right?
I hate to say that age.
So then I'm thinking like, well, we need to change the right to vote until you're 28 or 26 or 27 or whatever. Or we need to push back the drinking age, or all.
We
these
should
things.
definitely push back.
I know. We totally should.
Oh my God.
We shouldn't even actually have a drinking age. We shouldn't have.
You want to give 12-year-olds beer?
There should just be a healthy relationship with alcohol in our fucking society where we don't have to worry about keeping it or hiding it or putting it anywhere else or putting restrictions on it. It's just fucking alcohol. It's not a big deal. Anyways, the thought that I had was, right now, if we were to move that up to the age 26 or 27, that would seem so crazy and bizarre. But if we start living longer and longer and longer, maybe it doesn't seem so crazy and bizarre, right? By the time you're 18 years old, we think that, think about, not by the time you're 18, but by the time you're 26 years old, we think you've already like grown up and you're already on your way and you've already maybe graduated from college or you've already had a career or something like that. But what if we are actually living longer so that 26 isn't even a quarter of your life yet? Yeah. Right?
Wow.
Maybe you're not even at that quarter of your life yet. So if that's the case, then of course we can bump those things up because we would acknowledge the fact that you're not fully developed. So then it made my brain, my fully developed sponge brain, take your information in and spit back out my own.
Like I said, shit. Mm-hmm. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It made me
I
go
love your
back.
opinions.
And I thought, because we've been sending kids to war forever.
I know. And it's
Right.
not like we're one of the oldest, I mean, like the oldest age allowance
Yeah.
that are out there.
Yeah.
They're babies going.
Back in the swords and shields and arrows days, right? We were sending kids to war. It's always been that way.
Countries are still sending kids to war.
I know.
Okay. Anyway, Jess.
But think about it from this. So that the argument that I just made for the fact that we may be living longer in the future, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal to bump that age level up to where we're more fully developed.
Okay.
We lived much shorter time periods back in those days when we would send children to war. So perhaps they were already ready for war.
No.
Well, think about it this way. So back in the day,
That's why everybody was dying, because they were sending them so young.
granted, that's probably a bigger factor, but it doesn't help with my argument. Imagine back in the day where like 40 years old would be the equivalent of 100 years old today.
Okay.
Where so few
shit.
people lived to see 40. If you lived to see 40, you were like the shaman that everybody heralded, and you were the chief of everything because you made it that far.
Well, you can get ready to bow down next May then.
So if that's the case, then 10 years old
No.
would be the quarter point. Like by the time you were 10, you would already have lived a quarter of your life.
I don't like that.
I'm just using it as an argument,
I
right?
know.
The thought process is that perhaps we were ready for war back in the day because we were actually fully developed and ready to make those decisions and have those actions and all those type of things and carry the weight of what that took. It's not a very good argument.
It's like it's an interesting point of view. Mine differs.
Well, I don't
but-
agree with it.
Then I'm glad we're spending time on it.
It's just a crazy thought that I had. It's kind of interesting though, right? To think about.
Yeah.
And think
I don't
about-
like it. It just makes me sad.
We think about the life expectancy and how it has increased significantly. And we chalk that up to like medicine and healthcare and
Which we don't have any of. So like, 40's around the corner. Like,
but the reason that people are living longer today than they ever have before is oftentimes attributed to technology and
okay.
advances that we've made in science and things like that, right?
Sure.
Where now we
To a
know
point,
what
yeah.
germs and diseases are, and we know how to care for those things and everything like that. What if it doesn't have anything to do with that?
Yeah.
What if that is 1% of the reason why we live longer today?
Ooh, what's your theory?
I don't know.
Oh, I was ready for some good stuff.
Maybe it's some crazy universal evolutionary planetary thing,
Yeah.
and that's why we're living longer today.
Maybe it's because the stars knew that we were going to have this amazing love story, and it was going to be full of amazing, I'll just say like a really amazing sex. And they knew that 40 years was not enough for us. So they extended it. So when we got here, we could really reap the benefits. Except for
Of
tonight.
our lovemaking.
Yes.
Except for tonight.
Yeah. 'Cause you. What do you think of that one? If we're just pulling crazy stuff out here, like, what do you think of that one?
I think it's very valid. Totally could be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to envision us having sex at 80.
Oh, we're going to.
I know we're going to, but I like to envision it and see
you
what
like
it
to
looks
envi-
like.
Well, I guess sweet. Cute.
I don't think we're going to be as old as we think we are when we're 80.
I hope not.
I think when we're 80, we'll be like, yeah, we're 80. What's the big deal?
I hope so.
You know?
Because, like, the age we are now, I remember being young and seeing that and being like, ugh, like, you're having sex, really? Like, oh my God, you're so old.
I remember, because we're both approaching 40.
And we are.
And- But I remember, so one of my good friends growing up, Kelly had older siblings.
Yes.
His I'm trying to think of what his oldest brother is. I don't know, but he's older than we are, right? And I remember at one point when Kelly and I were in high school, his oldest brother had a kid. And I just remember thinking, holy shit. And I think at the time he may have been approaching his 30s or something. I could be way off. But I just remember thinking how old that was. I'm like, how, like 35 when you're
Yep.
17 years old?
That's old.
Seems like a life. Like what? No, 35
Mm-hmm.
isn't an age. I can't even imagine what 35 is going to be like,
Yeah.
you know? And that's less than 20 years difference. So now fast forward to 60, right? 60 is going to be nothing.
I hope not.
I don't think we're going to feel any different.
I'm feeling a little different thinking about it right now.
No.
Thinking of some previous conversations and being like, that made you smile.
You're cute.
I hope not. I honestly, I didn't think 40 would feel like, and granted, we're not 40 yet, but I didn't think it would feel like this from what I viewed it then. Like, oh my God, it was so old. It was so old.
They say a lot
But
of times.
it's not. It's like, it's
what? Feels good, right?
it feels good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with like this if, like, oh, this works.
They say that it's like the time when everything finally starts coming together. Like it's your 40s are like when everything, like you've made peace with the past, you've find happiness with who you are, you're content in life. All these things just really start falling into place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sign me the fuck up. I'm ready.
You still got a little bit to go, Mr. 38-year-old.
Well,
You're just a little whippersnapper over there. Freaking millennial.
that's why
You're so
this
cute.
isn't
You
a
need
safe space anymore.
Sweetheart.
Yeah.
Come here.
I'm feeling very unsafe right now with your words and personal point of privilege. I no longer want you to insult my millennialism.
Oh.
I find that very disrespectful to all previous millennials that came before me.
That doesn't work.
We watched some silly clip on YouTube with, I don't even remember what it was, but it was a bunch of people getting together for some sort of conference or something like that. And they could never get anything done because everybody in the audience kept interrupting with personal points of privilege that needed to be addressed immediately.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember who that speaker was. You could see at the end where she was kind of done.
Oh, yeah.
But oh my God, that woman had the most extensive, like the biggest patience I've ever seen. She was like, okay. And like very, like over and over again, she would get one word out. Okay, go ahead. It was so nice.
There was one
So
personal point of
nice.
privilege that was like clapping, I think. Wasn't there a
Oh
clapping
my
one?
God, there was a clapping one.
Where it's too loud for some of us that have auditory or sensory issues. So if we could not clap so loudly, then that would be easier for some of us.
It wasn't clap loudly. It was clap at all. And I understand that if you're taking a test, but if you're at some like thing, like
If you're at a fucking conference or meeting where somebody's up front on a podium talking and saying things, and then people want to clap at what they say.
yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry, is that too loud? Tell me you've never been to a concert or a movie theater. You tell me that that's too much for you. You've never done that. An amusement park, anything. And then I won't clap.
It would be so fun to go to one of those and
Oh my
just troll
God.
in person.
I can't do that.
I can't either. We're
yes,
not
you
those.
could.
No, because I'm totally
just
not that
troll
type
me.
of person. Well, it's because it's you, and we're
You got
sitting
me
in our
upset.
freaking living room.
You made me, we're not in
Or
our
I mean, in
living
our
room.
bedroom.
You had me all spitfired and I couldn't get my words out and I was all angry. There, I hit the mic.
I could never do that.
Yeah, I know you can. You're
Yeah.
too sweet.
I am too sweet. I'm not a jerk. Even though I like to be. I'm a jerk in private. We'd get back in the van and be like, oh my God, baby. Those fucking idiots. Bunch of fucking retards. Did you hear them? Fucking Christ almighty. But,
Stop it.
yeah. You should see what happens in our van.
Oh, you
There's
should.
lots of fun conversations.
There's also, our van is fun. I don't ever want to get rid of our van.
Don't start talking about getting rid of the van.
No, I don't. I love our van.
I know, but
I wonder how many more years we're going to have that wonderful van. I wonder how many more adventures we get to have in the van. How does it get any better than this? There we go. I like the van.
I like
was
you.
You like me?
I like you.
Thank you.
And the van.
You like the van? I like you. I was anti-van. Do you remember?
Yeah, when I got it.
I did not want a van.
Yeah, you didn't want to rock the minivan.
I did not. I got, I would, never mind. I was so fucking spoiled. How old were we?
We've
were
had the
young.
van for 5 years.
Okay. So 34,
Yeah.
33, 34. I remember there were times that I would forget that I was in the van because I'd be listening to music, some music and the windows down and then I'd be like, oh my God, I'm in the van. Turn the music down with the windows up. I can't rock out. I'm in the van. Oh my God. And I'm like, I don't care. I'll dance with the van. But I would get because I'm like, you're in a minivan. You're not supposed to.
Rock out in a minivan?
No, you can rock out to Wheels on the Bus, but you can't rock
goodness.
out to there's no gin and juice in the van. There's just juice boxes.
Juice boxes.
Yeah, it was funny. And now I look back at that and I think, wow, Stephanie. Wow. there was so much insult on a minivan, and I had so many like, are you gonna be a soccer mom? And like, it was just the stigma of the relationships, and that's all you were, is just, or not the relationships, but the religion, and that's all you were, was a baby factory, and that you lost all your value, and you didn't have any sense of style or any sense of sex appeal or any sense of anything. I'm like, oh my God, you have no idea how much sex appeal vans have. So before you go judging, when people drive by in the van, just think, damn, you go. Because
there's lots of sex in the van.
There's lots of sex in the van. Anyways.
We got to wrap up.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. You haven't done anything wrong, for heaven's sakes.
I just went on a rampage about the minivan.
That's okay. We like it.
Okay.
2 things.
What?
I think we need to do, something popped into my head. I think we need to do a future episode where you and I discuss how different we are from when we met.
Okay.
Differences that we see within ourselves and differences that we see with one another.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay.
We've been together for 7 years.
Yeah, I think so.
Our
like that.
5th anniversary is coming up next year.
Mm-hmm.
But we're definitely different. 100% changed people.
We are. Yes, we are.
Yeah. And we stuck it out together.
Yes.
Through each of our, burping up of ginger. Through each of our growths and changes and evolutions and everything, we managed to stay together and grow stronger through all of it. So yeah, maybe we'll do that on a future episode.
Okay.
And the second thing is, fucking ginger burps.
Ginger? Did you chew it? Did you eat it?
No, I didn't eat it or chew it.
Oh. I put fresh ginger in his tea.
I don't think people thought I ate ginger. Like,
well, I was trying to figure out. I'm
from
like
the Gilligan's Island, but
I could say. Moving on.
I just got your brain all squared. I love it. No, next week you got to come up with some shit that that you want to talk to me about, but that you hold on to for a podcast. And keep in mind, baby, it's on the same level of stupid text messaging apps for celebrities.
I'm just like, I had so much awareness during this one of like, no, I get emotional during the podcast. I get fired up. I feel heard, even though I can't articulate. Like, I get too involved.
With the podcast?
Yeah. And then
That's
I just
not a
I
thing.
like totally had to mellow myself out because it's like, oh my God, I'm always getting so wrapped up in things. Like, calm the fuck down. So I don't know if I want to come up with something that I'll try.
The fact that you get so involved and passionate is a word that you're probably searching for. You get passionate about things is a wonderful thing, my love. Yeah. And we want to share it.
Yeah. Well, I love you.
I love you. Tune in next week to see our passion all over the microphones.
So we're not doing tea time?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just I love your smile.
I love you.
Good. I love you.
Good night. We need to stop talking about the split and the dichotomy and the polarity of masculine and feminine and just start talking about people.
Come here. You can have a safe space. I got a safe space for you. It's okay. You want some hot chocolate? I got that too. I'm going to be positive. I'm not going to participate, but I'm going to be positive. You know that thing you said was going to happen later tonight with us? I don't know if that's going to happen because
She's talking about sex, folks.
I'm talking about not having sex is what I'm talking about.